Till so far, we talked about how the infant needs to be nurtured up to 12 months, and we also addressed that the social emotional learning is very critical for language development, communication skills, self-soothing is important, feeling less anxious with the sleep training is very, very important. I am just reviewing this so that we pick up pieces what happens at 12 months, because by that 12 months an infant has been set up to self-regulate, self-soothe, be less anxious, explore the environment and learn from the environment. It is dynamic, once again reminding 250,000 cells per minute, 10,000 connections between cell to cell, and these are permanent lifetime pathways. If there is a fear, toxic stress from various reasons that have been enumerated before, the child suppresses the pathways to the amygdala and uncus, which is the midbrain, which is emotional brain, and a brain that needs to send the messages to the learning brain, which is the frontal cortex. We do not want to kill cells by not using them. When you use them, they all fire together. It is multisensory through all 5 senses. When you do not use them, we lose 600,000 cells per minute, 10,000 connections between cell to cell. That is a significant loss. In this significant loss are the quantitative dopamine receptors that can prevent learning and happiness, where dopamine and serotonin surges for the functional units can be inhibited. Therefore, this is a permanent structural damage by lack of nurture, toxic stress, anxiety, neurotic conditions, either coming from domestic violence, physical abuse, most commonly significant damage by emotional neglect from the primary caretakers, whether it is lack of time to lack of opportunities. The nurture is the most important, nutrition is also important. We do not need expensive gadgets. Having said that, I am going to go to 12 months. By this time, we have created a less anxious, self-soothing, self-regulating child who is going to learn to make opportunities avail to their self-satisfaction. At 12 months, the shift by the neuroendocrine system takes to grow 2 inches per year, gain 5 pounds per year, whereas in the first year, every infant grows 10 inches per year, triple the birth weight. As a result of this, infant is going to eat for growth needs, and this I bring it up because every toddler does not eat right according to the parent. They do not eat greens. Hey, eating greens started when they were 6 months old, because they are hardwired to sweet foods and not making choices to eat greens like broccoli, broccolini, green beans and spinach. But if they have been trained to drink water with a major meal, eat greens, they do eat greens, but they eat to their growth needs. So, let us correct here between the parents and the infant expectations on eating a certain amount of food, and we need to honor the growth needs. And every infant, when they are running around on the floor, they find a piece of beans or any dirt, or even including worms and cockroaches, they pick it up with their hand, they put it in the mouth. So, let us talk to the parents about using this constructively by creating a structured eating time, 20 minutes for all meal and snacks at the dining table. This should have started at 9 months, because that structure and hardwiring stays with them. When you say it is lunchtime, they run or crawl over to their own chair. This is called hardwiring and a permanent wiring. And the 10 minutes the infant is going to eat if they explore the food by themselves. Make a small morsel of food, balanced, small amount, carbohydrate, meat and vegetables, or carbohydrate, protein and vegetables, and then put 3 morsels on the tray, give a plastic fork or a spoon to the hand, so they keep themselves busy, and during this time between 12 to 15 months a parent can still feed. But if they clamp their mouth, they are not hungry, do not force feed. Do not give juices and milk at the lunch time, breakfast time or supper time, because if they drink juice or drink milk, which they are used to for liquid feeding until 12 months, it cuts down the appetite and they will not eat a solid food. To avoid that, give water with the breakfast, lunch and supper, but give milk, cut it down to 18 ounces between breakfast and lunch at 9 o'clock, between lunch and supper at 3 o'clock, an hour before bedtime at 7:45. 18 ounces in the whole day would be plenty of milk for the infant's needs, for the bone growth. But we are giving a balanced nutrition involved with the xanthines, luteins, antioxidants, vitamins through healthy, fresh, organic fruits and vegetables. And these are easily available in your backyard. Therefore, avoid canned foods that have preservatives and toxins, and try to cook fresh meal, and that can be organized and planned by working parents. And this is a very important information, because foods also determine your reactions. If chocolate can cause migraine, if wheat can cause scratching on the skin, important things need to be noticed, that healthy food, luteins, xanthines, antioxidants help keep the brain chemicals in good balance. Therefore, eating starts when there is a power struggle, when we fix them to the chair, force feed them till the infant vomits. That leads to anorexia nervosa in the future, or bulimia, where they overeat and vomit. Therefore, respect the growth needs of the infant. 2 inches per year, 4 to 5 pounds per year. They are not hungry all the time. When they are hungry, it only takes 5 to 7 minutes for them to gobble the meal, and they eat better when they are trying to feed themselves rather than we feed them. And monkey sees, monkey does at this age. So, when they see the parent eating and using fork and a spoon, infants try to imitate them. So, make the meal time a happy family time. Do not try to enforce rules that are rigid, or force them, or bribe them with iPhones, iPads, so that they can eat better. Have a structure, have a consistency, 20 minutes for all meal time and snack time, no force feeding. Let them take small morsels of food through their own fingering, give little sips of water up to 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces per meal, and balance the basic carbohydrates, proteins, vegetables and minerals. Try not to depend upon cheese crackers, cookies and snacks that are processed. Give blueberries, give soft peaches, give soft pears, give thin slices of apples, but try to give that after milk consumption time, at the dining table, in between breakfast and lunch time, in between lunch and supper time. This much of cookie and cracker can kill appetite for the next meal. They need soft fruits, and they can be put in a mesh until they have enough teeth, and they can suction the juice between the tongue and the hard palate. That is good for their mineral consumption. So, think about the softest fruits, and papaya is an excellent fruit that is good for heart, good for the intestines, has all the xanthines, luteins and antioxidants. Kiwi is an excellent fruit. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, these are all excellent fruit. Think about these. Mango pulp is also good. Any colored fruits are important rather than just white fruits and carbs through bananas and apples. They can be consumed once a week, but mostly colored small fruits. Having said this, try to avoid future anorexia nervosa by learning the tools that will help a parent. You do not need to show a story or a cartoon. You could certainly narrate a story or sing a story. Again, temper tantrums. Between 12 to 18 months, infant looks at the mother or the primary caretaker. They all of a sudden find themselves being alone, and they scream, make an eye contact, and they are not being noticed for all the self stimulation they are doing, either with a book or blocks or with alphabets or the abacus, and they look at the parent and cry. Don't give them that opportunity while you are cooking and cleaning and while you are busy with your own work, housewives. Please make an eye contact with an infant and praise them periodically how they are keeping themselves out of danger. This helps them being on the positive side. When they are crying, don't ignore it. Go to them, help them, redirect them into some activity. It could be non-toxic colors, crayon and a paper, or abacus and 1, 2 buckle my shoe kind of a thing, or alphabets with the phonics, and give objects: A, apple, apricot, apron; B, ball, book and baby; C, cup; H, hands, fingers. You can direct them from a distance. That will cause self-regulation. We are building up pathways of self-soothing, self-engagement, self-trust, worth and confidence, and self-regulation. If we miss out on pathways, it is difficult to instill them after third birthday, because 90% are set by that time, and after 5 years it is a little bit difficult, but brain is malleable and plastic, but we can certainly avoid all these behavior disorders. I in my practice have many children whose parents religiously followed these recommendations. The infants themselves go into a room when adults are talking loud and do give them a warning that there are loud noises in the house, pick up a book and try to imitate reading, because they read by rote and memory by this time. That is a good habit. Won't you think it is a good habit? That is what we need to create. Again, give them blocks so that they try to build with the fine motor skills. They try to match the shapes. They can learn shapes and how they look. They can learn colors if you start teaching them. In the textbook, they say colors are not identified until 2.5 years. In my practice, by using this multisensory integration curriculum, preaching to the parents, I have many children who identify colors by the time they are talking by 2 years. They need gross motor activity, they need park time, they need nature time. Parents need to take them out, explore, teach them about the nature, because nature is our first guru. We can learn from the moon and the sun that the balance should not be lost. We can learn from the plants patience. We can learn from the flowers how selflessly they give the scent and how they do not let a speck of dirt land on them. We learn from nature. Exploring nature teaches a lot to every infant. So, the most common things I emphasize between 12 months to 18 months is crying spells, screaming spells, reading that should be encouraged, phonics with the cognitive associations, with the hands-on, with the sight, sound, touch and kinesthetics. Children learn the phonemes of all the alphabets, particularly English is a universal language and I encourage that. They can learn numbers, identifying numbers. They develop 3 words other than mama dada between 9 months to 12 months. By 15 months, 5 words other than mama dada. By 18 months, children have learned 30 to 100 words, definitely simple sentences. It all depends upon how we offer nurture with the one-to-one, with emotional trust and bonding, adults who are involved with them day to day, not through electronic gadgets, please, not through screen time, not through shows that teach alphabets. They need this bonding, they need one-to-one, they need interpersonal reciprocity, praise and involvement. Floor time and face time is very important. How we detect a child with autism or hyperactivity. If a child cannot self-soothe, sit and do an activity for 2 or 3 minutes, if the child is constantly jumping around, please do not spank them, leave music, give your touch therapy, redirect them and they mold into your lap. If they do not make eye contact, something went wrong. If they are not talking and not looking into the eyes and looking for your reciprocity and response from their communication, something is going wrong. We need to readdress the family. I see a lot of parents, the child is playing around, they are into their iPhone. Engage in conversation with them. Give your quality time, even if you are both working parents. These have been the flaws I saw, and I will talk about my case presentations where I developed interest in how emotional neglect and abuse caused a 3.5-year-old to be globally delayed, and how the nurture intercepted the whole process and the child was educable in 1979. So, the stress, anxiety, lack of nurture, maternal depression, poor parent involvement has caused trauma to the child, and this emotional trauma has deep roots, and we are trying to fix it. We are trying to stitch it through education, and my whole involvement in this process of creating these modules to give it to the parents is for educating the masses, where the common knowledge is not passed around through the providers yet, because they are getting themselves trained in this subject. Thank you so much for listening.
Are those your fingers? What are you looking at? Are those your fingers? Can you say hello with that? Are those your fingers? Is that your hair? Say hello. Can you wave hello with that hand? Yeah. Hello. Is that your hair and your hands and your mermaid toy?